Up next, please allow me to welcome back another phenomenal speaker, Mr. Jorge Carrasco. He is the Managing Director for FTI's Blockchain and Digital Assets practice in the Middle East. He is a blockchain and Web3 expert and enthusiast with more than 15 years of experience building lines of businesses related to emerging technologies. Please join me in welcoming him on stage with a huge warm round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for staying for this session. I will try to make it shorter as well. So when I was asked to talk about exploring the transformation of digital assets, I thought everybody might know already where it started and how elite where it is today. So I thought to do some kind of experiment, right? To say, okay, what will be in years from now? How this is going to evolve? In order to do that, it's important to see where are we. So this graphic is from the State of Crypto 2023 report from A16C. And it depicts the evolution of internet addresses and how the number of crypto addresses is following more or less the same pattern. Okay? So currently, 2022, 2023, another speaker before was saying we are around 300 million users. This report is saying it's around 100 million users. So that was the number of internet users in 1996. So if we would like to see a world where the number of crypto users is as the number of internet users today, we need to jump 20, 25 years, right? So this is the exercise that I did. So we are, let's say, in 2040. By 2040, many things have happened. All the sustainability and net zero strategies from companies have already happened. The governments have explored their model of engagement with citizens to be more transparent or not, we will see. Financial system as we know it today have gone through a couple of transformations, iterations, disruptions. Companies and governments have much wider technology adoption, right? I think you will agree with all these statements. All the uncertainties about digital asset regulation that we have today that will have been overcome already. And artificial intelligence is embedded in all these things. So my statement is that digital assets and blockchain will have a very relevant role in all these futures. So I have imagined two possible futures. A utopian one and a dystopian one. So in a world where a lot of digital assets are there, what would happen in a utopian one and a dystopian one? So in the utopian one, sustainable efforts are compensated by tokens. All the natural resources, all the different processes are tokenized, and the people are compensated by their good efforts. While in the dystopian one, companies that own natural resources have tokenized them, have sold them to the best buyer, and they are exploited, right? So in the two cases, we have massive adoption of digital assets, but depending on where companies and people take this and other things evolve, we can go to different areas. In the case of digital labor, so using digital assets can lead us to a future where so people are fairly compensated, there are micro tasks, so the gig economy and the freelancing are normally daily routines, and we have a universal basic income that is specific for each person, and smart contracts and artificial intelligence tell us how much a person needs to cover their basic needs, and that is their specific universal basic income. And the payment is automatic without intermediaries because smart contracts allow for that, right? In the other side, we have digital labor exploitation. So employers have miniaturized the tasks, and there is micromanagement because you can track and trace absolutely everything, right? That's another twist of this. And smart contracts are also good for paying the wages, but are also good for terminating a contract immediately, right? So depending on how rules and how companies use digital assets, this can happen. In the case of economic equality, in the utopian world, we have economic equality. Every asset has been tokenized, as our previous speaker was saying. So good investment opportunities are available for everyone, right? And then there is less economic divide. In the other one, we have economic divide. Imagine a future where the blockchains that have limited token support, the tokens are in the hands of a few, what we call whales today, right? And those people are the ones that have opportunities for staking, that have access to the airdrops, and they benefit from how the blockchain works. And the rest of the people are involved in an eternal debt because they have to continuously borrow tokens and pay interest for that. So a few control the majority. In the digital identity, in the utopian world, we have our identity, we have control over it, all our personal information we can share with whoever we consent through this decentralized information, so we have control on our privacy. In the dystopian world, yes, your identity is based on a token. What if you lose that token? What if there are no proper mechanisms to recover that token? That leads to social exclusion, right? So this is in a dystopian world where no proper mechanisms to recover that information or to keep that information safe can lead to people that cannot interact with others, that is completely excluded from the society. And of course, companies are paying you in tokens for your data, and they are controlling again your data. With the governments, so they have used digital assets to give voting power to the citizens. And all the citizens are much more engaged because they can take place in any decision that happens, right? And also, decentralized finance has allowed for financing opportunities for everyone. On the other side, so we have market manipulation, one of the issues that we see today with the CBDCs. What will happen with the CBDCs? If CBDCs are properly implemented, that will give us lower transfer fees, much faster transaction settlement, etc. What happens if smart contracts are used for the bad? Then you can manipulate and say, okay, this person, because we have identified certain consumption patterns, they will not be able to buy this or buy that. Their money will serve for this or for that. They will not be able to buy a flight ticket because we don't want them to get out of the country, for example. So that leads to market manipulation. Healthcare, in the utopian world, all your healthcare information is safe. You can exchange it between all the healthcare providers. And the funding of healthcare projects is much faster, much better, because everybody can actually fund an investigation of an illness that typically affected them. Today, that is more difficult, right? In the dystopian world, healthcare is gotten thanks to the tokens you have. So if you don't have enough tokens, you don't get proper healthcare. Education, more or less the same, but with the difference that in a utopian world, you get the education that you need. The job market is telling the people what they need to learn. The artificial intelligence is matching the supply and demand of talents. While in the other environment, where in the dystopian one, education is just allowed for a few. I'm finishing with this list, and then we see what is the day in a person in these worlds. So in the utopian world, communities are much more close to each other because everybody can participate in the decisions, how they fund their projects, etc., through DAOs or semi-DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations. In the other one, there is social disintegration because people are so worried about keeping their tokens that they don't trust each other. They fight for the tokens. In the utopian world, there is much innovation and collaboration because of the funding of the projects, and global connectivity is thanks to these transactions that can happen without fees, without borders, etc. While in the dystopian world, there is technical dependency because everything is siloed. So certain companies issue certain tokens that you can consume only on certain environments. So two different worlds. So I will go quickly through the day of an average person. In the bright world, so the smart devices are connected with your healthcare information. The For example, the smart home is connected to the blockchain and is efficiently generating tokens with your self-generating smart devices, and then consuming those tokens once you are there. And the breakfast that you have has the certain nutritious components that you need based on your personal health. And also, thanks to the blockchain, you see all the supply chain, and you can guarantee that the ingredients are coming from local farmers, for example. While in the dystopian world, people wake up worried about their tokens. They have their cold wallets under the mattress, and the first thing that they check in the morning is if they have been hacked, right? So they fear about this. Breakfast is frugal because you need to buy it with tokens that are very limited, and people are careful not to overspend. When you go to work, there are new work models. For example, this guy could be a virtual real estate agent, okay? People engage through decentralized platforms. They are fairly compensated by tokens. Employment contracts are executed in a much more predictable way, and workers have the autonomy and control over their arrangements. While in the other one, we have a very competitive landscape where employers offer minimal pay for long hours, and then people are worried to get those tokens. And every task is meticulously followed because thanks to blockchain, you can track and trace what everybody does on a very granular level, because basically there are no transaction fees or complexity about manipulating all this amount of information. Then you leave your work, and the transportation in the utopian world is much nicer because you don't have to own an expensive car. The car is tokenized. You can own part of the car. And also, when you get into the car, your wallet as a user is connected with a wallet that is in the car, and those tokens are used to pay for fractions of how much do you use the road, how much do you use the tolls, how much time do you park here or there, or how much fuel do you put on the car. And also, the insurance companies are compensating good driving behavior. While in the dystopian world, because things are not tokenized properly, you have to take much longer to get access to better equipment. And then, because of the siloed environments, depending on the tokens that you have, you can drive only certain cars, you can use only certain routes, and everything is working in ecosystems. Imagine a world where we have things associated with Apple, things associated with Google, things associated with Amazon, and you cannot properly interoperate between these ones. So this is what could happen if things like interoperability are not evolved properly. After work, you go to community events, and in these community events, you discuss topics, and then you vote with your tokens, etc. If you cannot attend, you can delegate your attendance with your loyalty or your community membership token, and smart contracts and artificial intelligence can check if the person that is getting the token meets the criteria for the community. And everything happens in real time to make sure that everybody is with the same interest. While in the dystopian, people meet again, but it's to exchange these limited tokens for first need goods. And I'm already finishing. In the entertainment world, for example, occasionally people engage on virtual platforms like Metaverse. You have your identity, and that identity creates meaningful experiences for you and people that like your interest, and artificial intelligence allows for that. While in the dystopian world, the access to these environments is only allowed for a few. Buying equipment for this kind of accessing these environments is allowed only for a few. So my question to all of you that are probably in the ecosystem is, which one are we going to build? One in which there is interoperability and we use tokens, blockchain, artificial intelligence for the good, or one in which we let the mistakes of the past just grow thanks to the technology? Thank you very much.